Vendetta, start us up for game number 1. Even if I'm a boosted monkey. Hey, you gotta play Wukong now. That's a requirement. If you're playing boosted monkey, you gotta play Wukong. You gotta play Wukong.
Alright, so are we about ready to get everything started up?
I think so. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the fancy YouTube. I'm seeing how long I can last before YouTube smashes me for copyright infringement. Because I've been playing God's Hammer, a League of Legends song, in the background when we're doing picks and bans. So we'll see how this goes. But go ahead. You said you had to be right back, and I will discuss our first picks and bans of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Welcome. Enjoy. We are getting into the most awesome of awesomes, and that is Excellency Shoutcasting. I'm Jake Kelton. Wraith just went to probably go get his tea, and we shoutcast games every Tuesday night. It's a fantastic time for you guys to come out, hang out, play. Eventually, when we have enough players, we're going to get some leagues going. We're talking all silvers or silver and golds, plats and diamonds. So we get some serious games playing around. But for right now, it is solely dedicated to any player who wants to play in a game can jump in. Of course, Lord Reeves is usually here as one of the largest supporters of both the stream and just being generally an awesome person. So, Kagger.
TS is what I left for.
T. And T.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, is there any other guest than T?
Of course not.
It is the Fiora and Malzahar band from Team Hola Hola, as well as TeamBoostedN0ob, who Red Team always has these super long names. I'm not exactly sure how it happens, but they always have like the longest names that we ever get in games. As it's Purples being banned away by TeamBoostedN0ob. Evelyn and the Kaisa being banned away,
Chris.
both strong, quick assassins.
Yep, and it looks like Kaisa's going to be banned out completely. That's definitely a decent ban away. She's still probably, especially with her new build, the best ADC for solo queue at least. Competitive and high elos notwithstanding, she has the highest win rate of ADCs. Because when she gets ahead, her build path right now is a Death's Dance Rush into Ginsu's, followed by Nashor's Tooth. Those seem like very odd items, but they all synergize. Death's Dance gives her enormous dueling potential, like Draven used to do. And then Ginsu's gives high damage, and Nashor's Tooth pushes her over the top, and all of her abilities get evolved, so she just ends up with massive damage. Good ban away. However, Vayne being picked up, and with Caitlyn banned away, actually has a decent chance of surviving bot lane pretty well. There aren't a lot of counter picks to Vayne left on the table that are still viable. Jinx, and a couple of others that lane fairly well against her. Tryndamere hovered briefly, then it looks like we're just mixing it up with the top lane, but for the moment we've got Karma picked up as well as Cho'Gath. So we're looking, Jake is looking for a counter pick into Cho'Gath, and it is going to be the Tryndamere. Not exactly sure of Tryndamere is one of those champions that hasn't been changed since season 1.
Well,
good
one of the
old
things,
fashioned.
yeah, I wanted to note here is that Karma pick, it could be rotated either bottom lane support or as the European circuit likes to play in the mid lane. Now, it was G2 that actually lost in the finals to Fnatic playing the Karma in the mid lane. So we'll probably more than likely see Vendetta play that in the supportive role, but it is a flex pick. And then I just had to note real fast that the confidence for a first pick Vayne coming out at the very beginning when only 2 ADCs were banned from the other team, the Caitlyn and Kaisa, is super, super confident. But as you were saying, Tryndamere versus Cho'Gath, unless it's a Sion versus Cho'Gath, then Tryndamere is either in the jungle or mid lane. But most likely it's going to be that Tryndamere. Talk about that matchup. Sorry.
Indeed. So Tryndamere versus Cho'Gath right now. I'm a little reticent to put that, like, you want to pick a carry in order to get ahead and take over in the side lane, but I don't know how well Tryndamere is going to do once Cho'Gath gets an armor item under his belt. And Vayne banning away the Jhin. A strong lane bully. However, well, with his new Ginsu's Rage Blade build, he actually has the potential to out-carry Vayne in the late game if he's ahead. As I was saying, Cho'Gath and Tryndamere, if Tryndamere does the tanky route with Grasp of the Undying, he might be able to scale evenly with Cho'Gath, or if he goes with the Conqueror and gets 1 or 2 early kills, he might be able to get far enough ahead of Cho to where there's no possibility of Cho entering lane against and deny CS, deny XP, and win that way.
The shackles, picking up the fiddlesticks. And I like what you're talking about with Tryndamere going for those kills would be my preferred, way to see him play it, as he does fall off a little bit towards that late game, and especially with the squishier members of both Karma and Fiddlesticks, unless they can kite, he has a pretty good opportunity to just 2 autos kill either one of those. However, he does need to get in, and they do have kiting possibilities, both Fiddlesticks with the Fear and Karma with that rooting chain. But it looks like we are going to have Lee Sin, and Sharky Lul is hovering the Zed for the mid lane. So at this point, I am wondering if that is from Straight Jacket, because he is carrying the exhaust as Scion support in the bot lane. Very, very rarely seen, but would be something different. Carries a lot of CC, has a decent shield, and the main thing is using that Aerie for the poke with his E, the Roar. I forget the exact name of that, but the Roar coming out from the side in the bottom lane for the harass, especially on the squishier members, as it looks like it may be a misfortune picked up by Lord Reeves. What are your thoughts on the Scion support for bottom lane?
Scion support, when he takes, what's that mastery? The Arcane Comet. When he takes Arcane Comet, he actually deals out a significant chunk of poke damage. If the opposing team is not wary of it, he can kick minions in using his Targon's proc, farm the CS, and get the damage down. And if you don't dodge it, it actually starts to add up pretty substantially. The slow is there as well. I have lost lane to Scion support, so it's not a troll pick. However, with the Karma in Misfortune, that early game poke and aggression versus a melee range support, very deadly. If Lord Reeves and Vendettaressa get a lead in the bot lane, this could go very badly, because Vayne really has no way to dual Misfortune early game. And Scion, if Vendettaressa plays Karma right, won't really be able to interact with the Karma through the shield slows and, of course, the root.
And that's what I'm really seeing for Vayne at the moment in this game from Team Hola Hola, is she's going to have a little bit of difficult time unless she's able to farm away on the Misfortune or Karma in the bottom lane, which, especially Lord Reeves being on that Misfortune, is going to be very difficult. And the Karma able to play safe, just play with the back and use those Mantra shields to protect the ADC and herself. Vayne is going to have a hard time really getting scaled into this game, because most of the rest of the members of the Vi and Cho'Gath are very squishy, and almost all of them have either guaranteed or very easy to land CC. You're talking the Vi's Assault and Battery, you're talking Cho'Gath's Rupture, even Karma with that lockdown. Well, when you start layering the CC.
The CC I was thinking of was Feast. There's no better CC.
Well, true. That is very true as well. So all of those things are either not that difficult or slightly difficult, but layered upon each other, going to be much easier to layer, where Vayne wants to be dodging all of those skills with her tumble, layering in the damage in and out of everybody else's attacks. And so even with the Fiddlestick's Fear could be deadly on her, as that is several seconds that she's unable to do anything besides simply walk away. Yeah. No invisibility, no tumbling, no nothing. No lifesteal.
Fear is the most potent CC on their team. Fiddlesticks, that point and click, I think it's 1.5 second CC. It's just absolutely brutal.
So that's my fear for Vayne coming into this game. Now, the other thing we haven't talked about is these junglers, the Lee Sin and Vi. Vi I've seen being picked up more and more recently. That Assault and Battery, a great way both to engage and to guarantee a kill on somebody that steps just a little bit out of position. But Lee Sin, also just the classic champion, going in for those insect kicks backwards into the team, able to land both CC, and that Sonic Wave followed by Resonating Strike of his Qs is just so potent, time and time again, giving him first blood in the game. We'll have to see if he uses that. What do you think between those junglers? Who's going to make a bigger impact in this game?
between Lee Sin and Vi's in a better spot early right now. Lee Sin with the loss of Tucker's Knife and the inability to just use free ward hops pretty much anywhere on the map, he's really hurting in the meta right now. There are a lot better picks. While Vi not meta, she's incredibly aggressive, and that point and click CC engage onto the backline is not to be underestimated. Vi is one of those champions that if you one trick it in the jungle, it's actually really, really potent. So slight edge to Vi in early game dueling, and simply and in the game overall, because Lee Sin lacking a tracker's knife is going to find a lot more difficulty actually getting involved with the fights later.
We'll have to see how it goes down as we do get into game in just a minute. We are about to load in and see some of the fantastic skins that players usually play with, but we'll see how that rolls. I did want to note in this moment that, ladies and gentlemen, XLNC Shoutcasting may be in for a little bit of a hurt in the near future, as apparently currently on the beta client, they have locked out the creator suite that I use for fancy camera angles from being able to view any games in that arena, which is a little bit sad. So there's actually some underground movements behind players contacting Riot to explain that for content creators, this is something that is really, really big. And us at XLNC Shoutcasting as content creators and using this for more highlight moments, and as we were progressing into bigger and better things, that was going to be one of the staples that was going to be used for shoutcasting these games. Maybe they're planning on replacing it with their own version of Creator Suite built into the system, but considering that Riot itself has actually used Creator Suite in some of their tournaments, and when they are shoutcasting finals matches and games,
it's kind of hypocritical, to be honest.
It's a little hypocritical, and I understand there's been a lot of talk about, well, they need to, you know, definitely crack down on anybody that's cheating or using spectator bugs and all this sort of stuff, but at the same time, you're kind of shooting a leg out from your player base and your content creator that build the interest and build the joy of playing this game when you take something like Creator Suite out of the options. So we'll just have to see how all that goes down. But if you know any Rioters or if you're in contact with anyone, definitely hit them up. Send them a tweet, send them a message, or the next time you get spammed in your email, one of those, please review our game things, let them know that knocking out Creator Suite kills channels both like this one. Not as it kill, but it definitely hinders, injures, and to some people can kill their YouTube channels when it comes to that sorts of thing. So there's my little PSA for the day.
Or instead of just hitting them up with a nice email, you could kidnap them and take all the rioters into a basement and pull off some, you know, movie. It's like, we'll release you only when you allow Creator Suite back in the spectator mode.
And sponsor Jake Kelton and Wraith's Shoutcasting, because obviously you would not release them without that. I mean, you'd like release a picture of them to show that Riot they're still alive. You know, if they say that they'll let Creator Suite work, but you're not going to release them back into the world.
Yeah, so, all right. We are going to load into the game at some point in the future.
At some point. It's close to loading, and everyone's 100%, so we should be getting in just a moment. I'm actually going to go ahead and pause my background music as we finalize the loading in. Those is Jokes, Twitch, and Riot. I'm not sure I get it, Deadless.
Nope.
I'm already spectating the game. Rezzer, you already in the game? No, how fancy. It has happened, like the last 2 times that we've shoutcasted, the first game has been delayed, and I enter in about 1.5 minutes late, which is very interesting. I'm not sure why it does that.
Here it is. Just in time for a pause!
Oh, I don't even actually see the game. Oh, there we go. Yes, exactly. Pause the game, 1 minute, 23 seconds remaining. Maybe it's the overall client is having a hard time loading into the game. Players, and of course, being able to try to get into this game as well. We'll find out in just a minute. But as we talked about these matchups and the players and the positions and all that sort of stuff, what do you think about this bottom lane? Oh no, minute 45 into the game. All right, Boogle Ball's gonna take some damage. The red buff Landex, having already picked that up, stolen away from the enemy's jungle, gonna get damage and force the Lee Sin out of his own jungle. I was unaware that the pause happened while people were already back at the base. I believe there was some
move from the bottom lane and jungler combo there. Recognizing the fact that Karma Misfortune is leaps and bounds stronger than Vayne and Sion in the early game. Sion can't really do anything because he will have started E. I suppose if he had his Q, he might be able to get a decent amount of CC and damage down. But Vayne really doesn't have any damage early. Nothing to shake a stick at Misfortune, who is almost entirely early game focused. And then you've got Karma, who with her ultimate, her empowered, her mantra empowered Q, the Inner Flame dealing crazy amount of damage and slows in that early game. So taking away that red buff, leveraging that early game advantage, an excellent thing. And Shackles giving it to Sharky Lol in the mid lane. Fiddlesticks being like, bro.
ADC DCing for a moment. That's unfortunate. That's why they're doing the pauses. Okay, so I think in the previous thing, the Misfortune or the Vayne probably DC'd again, which is why the why she already has 1 death on her, and only 3 farm. And I believe there's she is reconnecting as well, so we'll have to see if that connection clears itself up. But one of the things I did want to comment on real briefly was the fact that it's a fiddle in the middle, in the middle, the fiddle in the fiddle in the middle, with the fiddle in the middle. As Shackles, you didn't even notice, sneaks into the mid lane and is playing the crit fiddle. Maybe. It looks like starting that Doran's Ring could be going a more AP-based route. But of course, it is fiddle, so wanting a lot of mana for those bouncing crows may decide to, or just pick that up for the early portion of the game, silencing the Zed, pushing him back underneath his turret. Now, he's been farming out pretty well. Lee Sin is behind him, but I don't think going to go in on anything, as Sion gets solo XP and farm in the bottom lane, as Vayne has reconnected but not made it back into play yet.
Yeah, as in regards to Vayne, is she playing ADC or ADC?
Oh! If I had one of those air horns right now and sunglasses.
$50 for that joke. Thank you kindly.
The League of Pauses has definitely been showcased this time around, as Blue team still waiting, Hola Hola, on their ADC, history's best ADC, a DC. Complaints of laptop, don't know reason. So apparently history best ADC is having some laptop issues that are causing these occasional DCs. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, you should definitely always use an Ethernet cable. Because playing on Wi-Fi is just a bad idea overall.
By that, he means go to your nearest McDonald's or Walmart and stream League in one of their booths using the free Wi-Fi. Play only ranked.
Only
so
ranked.
That your teammate, this is how to make friends in League of Legends, guys. Only ranked on McDonald's Wi-Fi.
Or like Starbucks Wi-Fi.
9:30 at night, so that the McDonald's employees kick you out halfway through your game.
But you can sit in the parking lot and play it, you know, from your car.
Yes, sit out in front of the McDonald's until you get robbed. And then you can say, sorry team, got an AFK, getting robbed.
No, see, then you plug your laptop into the lighter charger of your car so that you could charge your laptop out there. Then when you get robbed, the robber notices that you're playing League in the middle of a match, realizes that you're a bronzy 5, and goes, hey, I can help you out, and steals your laptop so you can take over the game and actually try to salvage what's left of your failing ranked game.
Yeah, so for the bronze 5, actually what he does is steals your computer and opens it. That ought to help.
That might help. This is true. This is true. Actually having a screen to look at to know where you're clicking could benefit for your playing of the game. Now, 1,000 gold already to TeamBoostedN0ob, mostly due to the farm lead, especially in that bottom lane, the level 1 Vayne. Gonna have a very tough time getting back into this. Lord Reeves having no shame in not only showing off the fancy newest skin that Misfortune has been able to pick up, but also getting that harass down onto the Vayne ADC. Sion doing his best to hold in that bottom lane, continuing to spam out those E's, not only to push the minions back, but to collect farm, because, hey, at least one of them should be able to pick up farm in that bottom lane. He is at 13 himself, which is a decent chunk.
Shoving the top lane in right now, putting Tryndamere at a disadvantage. And the thing is that an excellent way to win a losing matchup is to just constantly shove them into tower. Because then they have to expend all of their resources, their auto attacks, and their abilities on farming minions rather than fighting you. So you just continually shove them in and then effectively win the lane by refusing to fight them, which is what Salix's doing right now. Because if Tryndamere fights him now or at level 6, he loses, and Jake should go in.
Yeah, that was a great opportunity for Jake to go in because he had a full minion wave. If the Cho'Gath had turned to fight him, he would have lost a lot more health due to the massive minion wave that's there, and would have been even better opportunity. But the one thing I was watching was this Cho'Gath is very low mana. He does have flash, it is available. However, after using it, the Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike from the Lee Sin, just to get a little extra damage on him before he's going to recall and probably teleport back to lane. However, if Tryndamere had gone in and gotten some really good harass damage earlier before the Lee Sin showed up, they may have been able to pick up a kill there.
In all likelihood, he could have gotten a kill with the slow that would have come out after that. The Cho'Gath was incredibly overextended, as you said, had a fully stacked minion wave, and moreover was missing mana, so he wouldn't have been able to peel Tryndamere off him if Trynd played that correctly. Basically, watch for the rupture and then use his E to dash through, and then he would get access to he would position himself in front of the Cho'Gath, as well as dropping the slow and getting himself a ton of damage, as you said, and perhaps a kill. Because really Trynd needs kills right now, or a substantial CS lead, or he's simply just going to get outscaled.
Yeah, one of the things to note there as well is that he was level 6, so he could have used that ultimate to dive, because even if he wasn't the main one underneath the turret, he could have stood at the side, which would have allowed Lee Sin to do the dive as the Tryndamere, with that several second ultimate of invincibility, stood on the side, tanking up those turret shots, waiting for the last minute before dodging off to the side. But didn't happen, didn't go down, so we're talking about a different game. As in this one, it is low mana on this Sion, but still doing a decent job trying to get his ADC back into this game. Via ganking in the top lane, has the slow down to half health. Jake spin to wins himself underneath the turret and gets back there to safety. 51 farm on the bottom lane Misfortune in comparison to the 33 farm on the Vayne. So still a leading game for TeamBoostedN0ob in the bottom lane.
Straight Jacket taking a ton of unnecessary damage, trying to slow down the wave and get some procs off, but he might forfeit his life. He's completely out of mana, and if Lord Reef's tick 6 right now, this is a dive. Putting good pressure down onto Vayne, and that is the,
nice move from Boogle Balls, jumping with the shield over the wall to the Tryndamere. However, his ultimate has been forced out. Now Salak gonna go down. Jake with a nice flash to get the last auto attack, and that's what we're talking about. That team play, getting the slows down in the mid lane. That is going to be the Ignite ticking away on the Fiddlesticks, but he's not going to be finished off by Zed's damage. In the meantime, the Assault and Battery from the Vi, knocking Boogle Balls back towards his ally. Doesn't even matter, he's already gone. Knocked between a Vi and a rock wall.
I see what you tried to do there.
No. Yeah, I was more thinking like rock and roll rather than stuck between a rock and a hard place, but, you know. Oh, wow, Silent going to get the bottom. He may actually be able to get a kill. Oh my goodness, with the unstoppable onslaught, slams in, and now there's a nice slow exhaust as well. Best history ADC picks up a kill on the Misfortune. Beautiful plays from Hola Hola across the map in the bottom lane and the top lane. Now the mid lane, Zed did go down to Fiddlesticks after a decent fight, but the Fiddlesticks heal was just a little bit too much, and Shackles is able to sneak away, kill in that mid lane and get out. Now it is an Ocean Drake starting off, but I think that TeamBoostedN0ob may decide not to rush it just yet.
So despite the DC, this extra CS uncontested, the XP and the kill. Hold on, Shackles is down bot side.
Oh, Shackles with the ultimate should be able to clear up the Vayne due to that fear we talked about before the game even started. The flash in from Landex, but didn't get the knockback, so there wasn't any CC besides the slow, just with that auto attack and red buff. Now, Lee Sin is down here as well, but it's 4 members of Boosted Noob in the top lane. Jake taking a lot of hits from those caster minions, and so he's going to be forced to back up underneath his turret as Lee Sin's going to get chunked out in the bottom lane. The Misfortune is level 6. Mantra Q gets the shield down, very low health onto Straight Jacket. Landex picks that up with a great dash underneath the turret to finish it off, but Lord Reeves still low health. However, I think with 3 members there, Boogle Balls will probably back off.
Maybe. You never know. There's what we call Lee Syndrome, which if you hit the Q, you take the Q, no matter what happens.
Oh, yeah, Lee Syndrome, absolutely. However, the condemn from Vayne, not quite enough to put Landex into the wall for the stun. However, will tumble herself to safety underneath the turret for the moment, but will it be enough? Landex back underneath the turret, it's going to take turret aggro, might be going down to a turret shot. However, the Vayne fell too fast, and so the turret was not able to get the aggro on. Now Sharky Low comes down here. Could get a double kill. However, nice move there from the Vi. Going to get the initial initiation. And Lord Reeves picks that one up from the jungle, or from the bushes there to finish that one off. And is now sitting at a pretty 2-1-2. 4-0 on Landex on this Vi.
Yeah, as we were saying before the match, Landex having far more impact on the map than Boogle Balls. Simply because, for a couple of reasons, really. Vi is in a better spot, and the champion is easier to execute. One of the ways that I predict matches.
Straight Jacket going to be in trouble here. It's very low health, starts the ultimate, but there's no time to channel it, and the shield from the Karma should be enough to keep her team alive. Ooh, Straight Jacket does get the flash forced out there. Vendetta just playing very, very safe. As Boogle Balls heads towards the top lane. The flash immediately from the Cho'Gath immediately lines up for the Sonic Wave Resonating Strike and the last kick to finish him off. So beautiful plays there from Hola Hola in the top lane. But it's a pretty back and forth game so far. TeamBoostedN0ob still in the lead though by a pretty 4,000 gold lead.
Yeah. So the reason Landex is ahead, one of the ways that I predict matches is I look at what I call ease of execution. In every lane, there are people who win by default, usually. That unless this series of events happens, this person gets an advantage, right? So unless Vayne outplays Lord Reeves, or actually, rather, it's unless Lord Reeves shuts the Vayne down, then he gets it in. Oh.
Ooh, Jake might be able to live this. Lee Sin takes the Q from the Vi, flashes the wall, has the blast cone available, not going to use it, and Vendetta steals it away. The question mark pings there, wondering what happened there. I wish Lee Sin had stuck around long enough to hit the blast cone for his ally. May have been able to save Tryndamere, but nonetheless, everyone burns a lot of spells to get him down. In the meantime, it is Cho'Gath's Salik trying to solo hold this bottom lane turret, and Cho'Gath is pretty good with the clear, so we'll be able to do that as the top lane turret going to fall as first turret blood given over to TeamBoostedN0ob in the top lane.
And that's an excellent call. Most likely Lord Reeves with the bottom lane swap, putting their strong match onto the top side. Cho'Gath much more aptly able to accept that kind of pressure than Tryndamere is, having the ability to wave clear from range and really sustain back up using his passive. Anyway, so the ease of execution in a lane is determined basically who has to do the least amount of stuff to get a lead. And it looks like we've got more fighting in mid lane, maybe.
Just some harass, except the Sharky goes back in with a fear from Shackles. Guarantees his own demise. Wow. I wasn't sure why Zed went back in, but that fear on the Fiddlesticks proving to be quite useful. Sonic Wave from Boogle Ball is not going to land, but he probably didn't want to take it anyway, as he is already chunked down below half health. Now, Team Hola Hola moving a little bit away from the mid lane, but here comes the Fiddle! Taking out one, finishes off the Lee Sin. The Misfortune bullet time as well, lowering everyone's health. A great condemn pushes Vi back, and it's only going to be one taken by TeamBoostedN0ob, but they have the pressure, and the siege has been started in the mid lane, as now they're going to rotate instead to pick up that Ocean Drake for the first Drake of the game.
And their team fight, once again, talking about the ease of execution in their team fight, you have Fiddlestick's ultimate into a Misfortune ultimate. That's 2 buttons right there that can level an entire team composition. Salak, if he hits a Rupture or any manner of CC during the course of the channeling of either of those abilities, basically guarantees a kill. Landex can point and click someone into there. So all of these are not high skill. You don't have to outplay your opponent. Yes, Vayne and Zed have incredibly high skill cap, and it looks like Shoutcasting is under attack.
Yeah, he did a nice move by waiting on the Shadow Dash until the last minute. Uses the ultimate to try to get to safety. Gets some good damage down. The Ignite sticking away as well. And a clean finish. Survives the Cho'Gath auto attacks as well. Salak very low as well. What a play by Shoutcasting in the bottom lane. Now Boogle Balls, nice kick, but just repositions Salak. He's not going to fall. Instead, it is going to be Boogle that does get taken off the rift. And members of Hola Hola moving towards the bottom lane to try to reposition. But that top lane has a huge wave from TeamBoostedN0ob moving in to defend that. So, or to start attacking the turret, as Tryndamere is going to have to go defend that up there.
Yeah. So when you're looking at these future team fights, Zed has the potential to outplay his opponent. Vayne has the potential to outplay her opponent, but none of them really have, like, Misfortune. You don't need to play well to play Misfortune well, I guess you could say. The same is true of Fiddlesticks. If you can land your Fear and your ultimate, you're good. Cho'Gath, just buy tanky items and stand in the middle of the team fight and soak abilities.
If you see someone below half health, use your ult on them.
Yeah, Vi has a few fancy combos she can do, but really all she has to do is land R on a key target and follow it up with Q. And for the most part, that's going to do enough with all of the other damage that's coming through. So all they have to do is get in range for a couple of key abilities, and they're going to win the team fight in most circumstances. Whereas for History Best ADC, if you're playing Vayne, you have to actually think about where you tumble and where you position and why. That's why Vayne has one of the worst win rates of all ADCs, because you see Gosu just tumble into the enemy team and you're like, oh wow, that sounds like a great idea. And Rift Herald being summoned in the mid lane.
Yeah, so a siege started by TeamBoostedN0ob on the mid lane should be able to get at least a decent chunk of damage on the turret, if not take it outright, as members of Hola Hola going to need to back off. Lee Sin still sitting underneath half health, hanging around, waiting for an opportunity for that insect moment, but it's still not going to find it, as Misfortune's ult, Bullet Time, picks up one on the Scion. Vi goes in as well, getting the knock up onto History of ADC, and Fiddlesticks ulting and flashing underneath too, has the Zhonya's as well, will be taken out in trade. However, this ADC will be finished off with the last ignite from the Fiddlesticks. Huge plays, getting a double kill, and now this continuing to push Shelly onto the turret. Zed goes in looking for damage, is able to take the Rift Herald out. However, there's still 3 members, including Misfortune, that takes out the turret, and a Tryndamere to boot. They're also going to be finishing off the inhibitor unless Scion Charge comes in and stops this. Unstoppable Onslaught is going to be finished off, doesn't land much, gets the slowdown onto Lord Reeves. The Q's going to be stopped as well, so unable to knock anyone up, as Boogle decides maybe this isn't the right time. Knock up straight onto the Cho'Gath. Does get stunned up. Salak chases in, flashes forward, unable to find anything, as Vendetta Ressa is just continuing to push them off of this inhibitor unless Lee Sin decides to go back in again, but I don't think he will. And it looks like with that inhibitor, BoostedN0ob gonna move out in addition with that Karma Mantra shield.
I'm expecting BoostedN0ob to move out and board up the top side jungle and the pit around Baron. Right now, it's spawning in exactly 1 minute. Perfect time to get some vision down. And Shoutcasting face checking out here. If he doesn't, yeah, he just jumped into 3, and it looks like, yeah, that's just
Shoutcasting baiting his teammate into a sense of security. They were trying to find some stragglers who may have been recalling in the bushes, shopping before they were truly back at the base. But instead, TeamBoostedN0ob doing the very smart thing, which was walking as a group and warding through that entire section of the jungle for Team Hola Hola. So unable to get any vision down, they were walking into a full team blind, or almost a full team blind. One of the things that was to note was that Lee Sin, Boogle, hung around with such little health that he ended up being almost useless to that team fight at the mid lane second tier turret. And then Shackles with an excellent play, ulting over a wall where they had no vision and then flashing into the enemy team base underneath the turret. Zhonyazing to get the tower off of damaging him. It was just a beautiful play overall. And I still think that there's some potential for Hola Hola to come back into this game, but it's going to have to be off of a perfect team fight, because otherwise neither Tryndamere nor Zed are going to be able to get carry position enough to win this game, as Tryndamere's cut out once again.
He's kind of a blasé champion. He doesn't do a lot. There's not much pizzazz in his kit. Like, basically, if he's ahead, he kills you by auto-attacking, hitting you in the face with a really big sword. That's what he does.
My right arm's a lot stronger than my left arm.
Indeed.
Boogle on the run, however,
get chased down.
A kick just to reposition the Misfortune so that he's going to be able to get back. But the Baron should easily go over. Lord Reeves not even necessary, as he's just standing guard, making sure that the Lee Sin doesn't steal that away. And Boogle sets himself extremely low, should have just recalled in the bush, maybe fearful of the Misfortune chasing him down. But he's going to get chased down nonetheless anyway, and Lord Reeves still gets the kill. And now 5 members strong, pushing in the top lane. The ultimate from the Fiddlesticks, chasing in. Crow's dealing good damage to Sharky Lol. It's going to bounce back and forth, and that's going to put the Tryndamere at very low health. Top lane turret siege started and should fall as quickly as the mid lane turret did as well. And they might push in for an inhibitor.
Yeah, the most likely. They've got nothing to lose on the right now. They just saw Vayne bot lane, and while she was recalling, there's not really a lot that the enemy team can do to challenge TeamBoostedN0ob right now. And Vi's just gonna straight up engage onto the carry.
Yep, and that's Misfortune. Throws out the bullet time, gets good damage. The ultimate from Tryndamere has been started. However, is able to finish off Vi before going down himself. Sion with some good CC, but he's going to be taken out as well. Straight Jacket falls in a double kill for both the Fiddlesticks and the Misfortune. Only Sion's dead zombie body remains before he gets chest bursted and falls. And that's going to be the double turrets falling before the Nexus falls as well. And TeamBoostedN0ob are going to take victory in Game 1 tonight with some massive plays. And let's not forget a team on the opposite end that had ADC that was a DC for most of the beginning of the game. Thank you to Wraith for that beautiful.
The thing is that while ADC history had DC for a good while, he managed to come back pretty only 15C. He was only down about 15 CS, and then he got a kill, so he was dead even with Lord Reeves until, and I'll go over this one again in my analysis, until Lord Reeves called a lane swap up to the top lane, noticing the disparity between top laners there, and using that to his team's advantage to produce the turret first blood. Anyway, so real quick, we're going to do MVPs, honorable mentions, and shout-outs for Team Hola Hola. So, let's take a look at the team. Standout performances. I give MVP to History Best ADC, actually, because he disconnected, and conversely also to Straight Jacket. The real standout plays that I saw in this game were Straight Jacket with his ult. Actually, Straight Jacket should get MVP for that. The ultimate down the bot lane, hitting both Vendetta Ressa and Lord Reeves, resulting in 2 kills to get his AFK ADC back into the game. definitely MVP worthy and history best ADC for still managing to maintain a CS while it should have been a much greater CS deficit, all things considered. So MVP and honorable mention, Team Hola Hola. Let's see.
Remind me real quick what the MVP was. Straight Jacket.
Yeah, Straight Jacket.
Yeah.
Gets
Okay.
MVP.
Cool. Just double checking on that. And I got honorable mention.
Yeah. So for TeamBoostedN0ob, I'm going to give. There are a couple of standout performances on this one. Question is who? I'm gonna give honorable mention. There are two that I'm flipping between honorable mention on. Honorable mention goes over to Landex. He just had so much early game impact all over the map, ganking every lane in a couple of situations, taking some very creative pathing that resulted in kills. So he did an excellent job making use of his, recognizing first of all that his champion is early game focused. A lot of the issues we see on this stream stem from the fact that somebody plays an early game focused champion as if it's like you play Draven as if you're playing Kog'Maw. Like Kog'Maw, you just want to sit back and farm, but Draven, you need to be in their face. If you don't get kills, you're not going to scale well. It's like playing a Kali like Dr. Mundo or something like that. But Landex, not falling victim to that, actually recognized the fact that his champion was early game, had a ton of damage, stole away the red buff, and then proceeded to just destroy his adversary jungler, going all around the map and getting kills. So Landex definitely standout performance, gets the honorable mention. And followed up, Lord Reeves gets, and no, it's not just because you played ADC, it's because you actually played ADC well. For what? No, so Lord Reeves gets the MVP, mostly for shot calling, because there was a brief potential that history best ADC and Straight Jacket could have turned that lane around after getting those kills. Vayne was level 6 and has the potential to outplay Lord Reeves' ultimate with that level 6. So calling that lane swap there, recognizing that it might have gotten to that point of critical mass and just sidestepping it all together, getting first tower gold, and just walking it down the top lane and going mid lane and taking advantage of still that kind of early to mid game focus of Misfortune, getting a large lead. And also
Commander C!
also dealing tons of damage, but it's freaking Misfortune. You pressed R. Congratulations.
I will not argue, but I will both throw out my own personal mini MVP and a huge shout out to Shackles playing the completely unmeta, almost never seen fiddle in the middle, in the fiddle, and going 7-1-7 with a massive play in the mid lane on that push before the game was over. That's a highlight. I'm grabbing it and I'm putting it in a highlight reel because that thing was darn awesome. So Shackles definitely needs recognition because that was awesome. And of course, we always have the supports complaining that they never get any MVPs or honorable mentions, which isn't true.
Supports MVP and honorable mention plenty of times.
Plenty of times. Not all the time, but when there's a standout. See, the main thing that you gotta keep in mind is that you can't just do a support's job, because a support's job is a support's job is a support's job. You have to do a spectacular standout, make huge plays, and carry the team type of deal to like every role.